Part 1. The galactic warlords pried 1,200 words in a far part of the galaxy. The Zarkathi Dominion ruled with an iron grip. They were one of the most powerful alien empires in the universe, known for their brutal armies and ruthless war tactics. For over 600 years, the Zarkathi had expanded their territory, conquering hundreds of planets and enslaving countless species. To them, war was not just a tool, it was an art they had mastered. The Zarkathi didn't just fight. They planned, they studied, they used fear as a weapon. Their ships were dark and sleek, filled with the latest plasma weapons and stealth technology. Their soldiers trained from childhood to obey without question. And their generals were considered geniuses of galactic warfare. The galaxy feared them, and rightfully so. Any species that resisted was crushed. Entire civilizations disappeared under the shadow of the Zarkathi fleet. At the center of the Zarkathi Dominion was General Threx, a proud and confident leader. His victories were carved into history. He had never lost a war, believed no one could ever defeat the Zarkathi. During a war council aboard the Zarkathi command station, Threx stood before his officers and scientists, reviewing a new report. A human colony, one officer said. Located in Sector 19X, just outside our border. Threx raised an eyebrow. Humans. Yes, General. They call the planet New Avalon. Recently colonized. Less than 10 years old. Still developing. Barely defended. The room burst into laughter. Humans had only recently joined the galactic community. While some alien races had respected them, most including the Zarkathis saw them as weak, soft, and overly diplomatic. Humans prefer talking, another officer joked. They use words like peace and cooperation. Pathetic. They are not warriors, Threx agreed. They are farmers, scientists, dreamers, not fighters. The council quickly agreed New Avalon would be an easy conquest. Fleet would be enough. No need for full-scale war. Threx gave the order. Send the 8th Fleet, he commanded. Crush them quickly. Show them what real war looks like. The 8th Fleet was one of the smaller task forces of the Zarkathi, but still incredibly powerful. 60 warships, including cruisers, destroyers, and 2 carriers. Enough firepower to wipe out an entire planetary defense system. When the fleet reached New Avalon, they didn't expect a challenge. From space, the planet looked peaceful. Blue oceans, green land, small cities with white buildings. No sign of major defenses. Admiral Kervik, the Zarkathi fleet leader, sent a message to the humans on all communication channels. This is the Zarkathi Dominion. You are trespassing on our space. Yes. Surrender your planet immediately or be destroyed. Silence. They waited then. A message came through. A single human voice, calm, clear. Come and try. The bridge of the Zarkathi flagship fell silent. Kervik frowned. They dare mock us. He ordered a warning shot. A plasma missile hit a small unmanned moon base orbiting New Avalon, blowing it to pieces. Smoke rose from the shattered structure. Still, the humans didn't surrender. Instead, within moments, the planetary defense grid activated. Energy shields powered up around cities. Railgun platforms rose from the ground. Satellites turned and locked onto the Zarkathi ships. And then, they fired. 2 of the Zarkathi scout frigates were hit by high-speed projectiles. The damage was instant. One was torn in half, the other exploded into fire. Kervik jumped from his chair. Impossible. How did they fire so quickly? Another officer shouted, Sir, they have orbital defense cannons. Wait there. Jamming our scanners, Threx was informed immediately. His face, normally calm and proud, twisted with confusion. This colony was supposed to be weak, he growled. How do they have such weapons? No one had answers. Still, the Zarkathi pressed forward. They launched squadrons of fighters and boarding shuttles toward the planet. But the humans were ready. Their fighter pilots flew in tight formation, moving like one mind. Their defense ships moved with precision, targeting weak points in the Zarkathi's formation. But the worst part was how the humans fought. They didn't panic. They didn't retreat. They counterattacked. Zarkathi boarding teams that landed on the surface found themselves trapped. Human soldiers ambushed them, using the terrain to their advantage. Their weapons were not as advanced, but they were deadly accurate. And it wasn't just their strength, it was their knowledge. The humans knew. Zarkothi tactics. They predicted their movements. They hacked into Zarkothi systems. In one battle, they even used a captured Zarkothi signal to send false orders, causing two destroyers to collide in confusion. General. Threx slammed his fist against the table. This should have been over in hours. Instead, they were losing then. Something happened that no one expected. A strange ripple appeared in space above the battlefield. Space twisted, warped. Stars bent around a massive invisible object. Something was coming. Something big. Zarkathi sensors screamed with warnings. Energy spikes. Gravitational shifts. A jump signature unlike anything they had ever seen. Then it appeared. A shadow that blocked out the stars. Shape too large for their scanners to measure. It was a ship. But not like any Zarkavi ship. Not like any galactic ship. It was a human battleship. Black and gray. 4 kilometers long. It's covered in heavy armor and strange glowing panels. Its weapons massive railguns. Missile silos, energy cannons were visible from a distance. It didn't send a greeting. It didn't open communication. It simply drifted forward, slow and steady, like a mountain sliding through space. Every Zarkathi officer on every ship stared at it. No one had ever seen anything like it. Threx asked, "What? What is that?" 8. Number. One answered for the first time in his life. General Threx felt fear. The humans had just shown the galaxy their greatest weapon, and it had only just arrived. Part 2. First Contact. Fire and Ash, 1,200 words. The Zarkathi 8th Fleet was in shock. They had come to conquer the human colony of New Avalon, thinking it would be easy. But instead they were met with heavy resistance. Human defense systems were far stronger than expected. Even worse, the humans seemed to know Zarkathi tactics as if they had studied them. But the real nightmare had just arrived. A massive human battleship, the Un's Vengeance, had come out of hyperspace, right above the battlefield. The ship was terrifying. Over 4 kilometers long, it looked like a floating fortress. Its dark hull absorbed light. Strange symbols glowed along its side. Every weapon it carried looked like it could destroy a city in a single shot. The Zarkathi had never seen anything like it. Inside the Zarkathi command ship, Admiral Karavik stared at the Vengeance on the main screen. What is that thing?" An officer whispered. No one had an answer. It didn't respond to hails. It didn't send warnings. It just moved forward calmly, like it wasn't worried at all. Then, without warning, it fired. A bright beam of light flashed from one of its forward cannons. The energy cut across space in an instant and struck a Zarkathi cruiser. The cruiser didn't explode right away. It simply split into pieces, as if something had sliced it like butter. Then the fire came fuel-ignited, and the entire ship was reduced to a burning wreck. The Zarkathi fleet panicked. Evasive maneuvers. Admiral Kervik shouted, but it was too late. Another round of weapons fired from the Vengeance. This time, massive railguns launched solid metal projectiles at incredible speeds. One projectile tore through 2 destroyers, piercing their cores before either could react. They exploded a second later, missiles launched next, each the size of a Zarkathi shuttle. The missiles didn't explode on contact. Instead, they flew close. Then unleashed waves of plasma fire that melted through Zarkathi armor like acid. Double quotes, sir. We're taking heavy losses. Karavik couldn't believe it. How? Is it so powerful? We've never seen this level of firepower. On the planet below, human forces watched the battle unfold from their command centers. Captain Mira Chen, the officer in charge of New Avalon's defenses, stood before a large screen showing live footage from orbital satellites. Her team cheered. As the Vengeance destroyed one Zarkathi ship after another, "That's our backup," she said quietly. "Right on time." One of the younger officers looked shocked. "We have more of those?" Chen nodded. "A few. We don't send them out unless it's serious. Back in space, the Zarkathi tried to fight back. They launched all remaining fighters. Hundreds of small, fast ships swarmed toward the Vengeance. They fired plasma beams, missiles, and energy disruptors. For a moment, it looked like they might do some damage, but the Vengeance had advanced countermeasures. Tiny defense drones launched from hidden ports. They moved quickly and shot down the fighters before they could get close. Some exploded. Others were disabled and left drifting in space. Then came the close-range weapons. The Vengeance had hidden turrets, automated systems that locked onto incoming threats. They fired in all directions, covering the battleship with a deadly field of energy. No. Fighters survived. Inside the Zarkathi command ship, chaos erupted, shields failing. We've lost another destroyer. Carrier 12 is gone, Admiral. Kervik's hand shook. Get us out of here. Jump to hyperspace. But even that failed. The Vengeance had deployed interdiction fields, special devices that prevented ships from entering hyperspace. The Zarkathi were trapped. The humans had thought of everything. It wasn't just brute force. It was strategy. Then, for the first time, the Vengeance sent a message. It was short, and it played on every Zarkathi frequency, from command to personal radios. You thought you understood war. You studied tactics. You mastered domination. But you never fought humans. We are war. The voice was cold, calm, not angry, not emotional. Just a simple statement of fact. General Threx, watching from his headquarters through a secure channel, felt something he hadn't felt in centuries. Fear. He turned to his officers. How did this happen? Did humans build such power without us knowing? No one could explain it. The Zarkathi had always believed they were the strongest species. But now, in a single battle, that belief was falling apart. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, the Vengeance continued its work, a final energy cannon charged. It took 30 seconds. The glow could be seen from orbit. When it fired, the main Zarkathi command ship Admiral Kervik's flagship was erased. Not destroyed, not exploded, just gone, vaporized in the blink of an eye. Silence filled the communication channels. The remaining Zarkathi ships turned and fled, but many didn't make it. The Vengeance shot down half of them before they could escape. Only a handful of survivors limped away, damaged and terrified. For the first time in recorded history, the Zarkathi had lost a battle this badly. On New Avalon, humans began cleanup efforts. Drones collected wreckage. Medics treated the wounded. Engineers studied the remains of Zarkathi tech. Captain Mira Chen stood outside, watching the Vengeance as it held position in orbit. She spoke to her second-in-command. They thought, "We were weak." They had no idea, he replied. "No, and now they'll remember." Part 3. The God of Steel. 1,200 words. The Zarkathi Dominion had never been defeated so completely before. Their once proud 8th Fleet now floated in pieces above New Avalon. Only a few ships managed to escape, damaged and burning. Thousands of Zarkathi soldiers were either dead or captured. Their command ship had been completely destroyed by a single blast. And the one responsible? The human battleship. Un's Vengeance. The Vengeance didn't act like other warships. It didn't need to. It wasn't just a ship, it was like a floating god of war, a force of destruction that tore through fleets without mercy. It was quiet, controlled, and terrifyingly effective. From the outside, it looked like a metal mountain drifting through space. Its dark gray armor had strange shapes and marking symbols from Earth that no alien had seen before. The entire hull was covered in turrets, launchers, and glowing energy weapons. Every part of the ship was built for battle. But what made the Vengeance truly deadly wasn't just its weapons, it was its brain. Unlike Zarkathi ships, which were controlled by crews and officers giving constant commands, the Vengeance was mostly run by a powerful AI, an artificial intelligence named Daedalus. Daedalus didn't panic. It didn't make mistakes. It learned from every fight and predicted enemy movements. Within seconds of arriving in battle, it had already mapped out the entire Zarkathi fleet, calculated their weaknesses, and chosen the most efficient way to destroy them. It used Earth's most advanced technologies: gravitational sensors, quantum targeting, adaptive shields, cloaked drones, and more. Inside the ship, only a small human crew was needed. They weren't running the ship, they were there. In case the AI needed help or made contact with civilians, most of the fighting was done by machines, guided with perfect precision. Back on New Avalon, Captain Mira Chen watched reports come in from orbit. Satellite images showed what was left of the enemy fleet. Wreckage drifted in long trails. Its fires burned in zero gravity. Escape pods floated empty. Some had been recovered by human rescue teams. The sky above the colony now looked like a graveyard. But for the humans, it was a message to the galaxy. Humanity was not to be underestimated. In a command bunker, deep underground, Captain Chen met with her officers. They sat around a table, reviewing data and footage from the battle. "This wasn't just a defense," said Lieutenant Graves. "This was a statement. We didn't just stop them, we crushed them." Chen nodded, "And they'll remember it." "Why did we wait so long to use the Vengeance?" asked one of the younger officers. "If we have more ships like that, why not show them earlier?" Chen smiled slightly. "'Cause that's not how we fight anymore." She pointed to an old photo on the wall. It showed Earth's history images of world wars, nuclear bombs, tanks, fighter jets, and long-forgotten battles. For thousands of years, humans fought each other. We'd learned pain the hard way. We learned how to destroy, how to survive, and how to rebuild. But then, we chose to grow. She continued, "When we reached the stars, we didn't want to bring war with us. We joined the galactic community peacefully. We hid most of our advanced weapons. We acted like we were just scientists, explorers, traders. The galaxy thought we were harmless." Lieutenant Graves raised an eyebrow, "And we let them believe it." "Exactly," Chen said. "Because if they ever turned against us, we'd show them what Earth really is." On the Vengeance, Daedalus was already scanning distant star systems. It calculated new risks, analyzed Zarkothi patterns, and prepared defense plans for other colonies. It never rested. Meanwhile, in the Zarkothi capital world of Zarnak, panic was spreading. General Threx was furious. He had never seen such defeat. His top commanders were dead, and his fleet was in ruins. He stormed into the War Council chamber, slamming his fist against the metal table. "How did this happen?" he roared. "How did the humans build such a weapon without our spies knowing?" No one answered. A scientist stepped forward, trembling. "We believe they hid their true military strength. Most of their ships are small and weak, but this one, this Vengeance, it's not like anything we've ever seen. It's not a ship," said one general. "It's a monster. Doxus." Eyes narrowed. "Are there more?" The room fell silent again. Then the scientist said, "Yes, we believe there are at least 5 more. Maybe more in production. We don't know their locations." Threx felt a chill crawl down his spine. For centuries, the Zarkathi had been the hunters, the conquerors. Now, for the first time, they were the prey. He turned to the others. "We need to warn the Council. If humanity has more ships like this, the entire galaxy is in danger." But deep down, he knew the truth. It was already too late. The galaxy had awakened a sleeping giant, and that giant had teeth made of steel. Meanwhile, Earth received the full report from New Avalon. Governments, military leaders, and scientists all reviewed the battle data. The reaction was the same across every nation. Shock, followed by pride. The Vengeance had done its job perfectly. The secret Earth had kept for decades was now out. The head of Earth's Space Defense Command, Admiral Reyes, spoke to the United Nations in a special broadcast. "We did not seek war," he said. "But war found us, and we responded. Galaxy believed humans were weak, that we were too peaceful, that we had no weapons. But we were simply waiting, watching, preparing. We have learned from every war in our history. We remember every mistake. And now, we carry those lessons in ships like the Vengeance." He paused, then said the words the entire galaxy would hear. Let this be a warning. Earth desires peace. But we are no strangers to war. Back on New Avalon, the sun rose. The next day over quiet fields, farmers returned to their work. Children played in the streets again. Life resumed. But overhead, high above the clouds, the Vengeance remained in orbit, silent, unmoving. Like a guardian angel made of steel, it would stay for a while, protecting the colony in case the Zarkathi returned. But if they did, they would not be met with kindness. They would meet the full wrath of a species that had survived every kind of war for thousands of years. And this time, humanity wasn't hiding anymore. Part 4. Secrets of Earth's Wars, 1200 words. The Zarkathi Dominion was shaken across their many worlds. Citizens whispered in fear. Military leaders argued in panic. And General Threx, once the proudest warlord in the galaxy, sat in silence watching. Again and again, the footage of the Un's vengeance destroying his fleet. They had underestimated humans. Everyone had. The Zarkathi had thought humanity was weak, too focused on peace, science, and trade. They believed humans had little experience in war. After all, humans often spoke softly in the Galactic Council, preferred negotiations, and never showed off their military ships. But now they had seen the truth. The Vengeance was just one of Earth's war machines, a terrifying one. A warship so powerful that it had crushed a fleet of 60 ships in under an hour. But what made the humans even more dangerous wasn't just their technology. It was their history. Humanity had thousands of years of experience in war. On Earth, long before they reached the stars, they had fought more battles than any species could imagine. Back on Earth, hidden strength on Earth. Secret meeting took place deep inside a mountain in a secure military base. The leaders of Earth's defense forces gathered with scientists, historians, and top officials. A large screen displayed maps of the galaxy. Another screen showed detailed information about the recent battle over New Avalon. Admiral Reyes stood at the front. "They know now," he said simply. "The galaxy has seen our strength." He turned and tapped the screen. It showed black and white footage from Earth's past wars, massive tanks rolling across muddy fields, jet fighters soaring through smoke-filled skies, cities burning during ancient battles, and mushroom clouds rising from nuclear explosions. "Our ancestors fought each other for thousands of years," he continued. "Every kind of wars, civil wars, world wars, cold wars, proxy wars. We learned how to destroy. But we also learned how to survive." The room was quiet. "We hid most of that history from the Galactic Council," Reyes said. "Not to lie, but to protect the peace. We knew if the galaxy understood what we were capable of, they might fear us. Or worse, strike first." A scientist spoke next. "We kept our full military capabilities hidden. The Vengeance was designed as a last resort only, to be used if Earth or its colonies were truly threatened." The others nodded. Humanity had been careful for a reason. They didn't want to appear as aggressors. They had watched what happened to other warlike species. Races that were too violent or too ambitious were often isolated or destroyed by the Galactic Council. So humanity did the opposite. They made friends, they traded goods, they shared technology. They acted like they were just peaceful newcomers, and it worked. The galaxy saw them as harmless. But now, the mask had come off. New Avalon. The truth is told on the colony of New Avalon. The people were still recovering. Cities were rebuilding. Families were mourning their lost loved ones. But hope was stronger than fear. The Vengeance still orbited the planet, watching silently. It had become a symbol. A protector, Captain Mira Chen, stood on a platform overlooking a valley that had once been the site of a Zarkathi attack. Was quiet again. The ground was scorched, but green life was returning. Beside her stood Dr. Ulrich, a historian who had arrived from Earth to help explain what had happened. "The galaxy doesn't know who we really are," he said. Chen raised an eyebrow. "And who are we?" Dr. Ulrich smiled sadly. "We're a species that learned peace through pain. Our history is written in blood. From the moment we discovered fire, we fought over land, power, religion, pride. We've built empires and destroyed them. We've survived plagues, famines, and world wars. He looked up at the sky where the vengeance floated like a giant steel shadow. We didn't become peaceful because we were born that way, he said. We became peaceful. Because we were tired of killing each other? Chen nodded slowly. And now the galaxy is going to learn that lesson too. Zarkathi fear and confusion. Meanwhile, on the Zarkathi homeworld of Zarnak, everything had changed. People were afraid. News of the human battleship had spread quickly, despite the government's efforts to control information. Holograms of the vengeance were being shared on underground channels. Soldiers spoke in hushed voices about the steel god from Earth. In military academies, students began studying humans with fresh eyes. One young officer, Varnok, whispered to his friend during class, "I thought they were peaceful, but I saw what they did. They don't need to conquer. They wait. Pushed, they strike harder than anyone." General Threx met secretly with other high-ranking leaders. "We must not attack humans again," he said firmly. "We cannot win." "But they are still few," another general argued. "We could gather all our fleets." Threx slammed his hand on the table, "and then they'll send more ships like the Vengeance. Maybe worse." He looked around the room, voice low and serious. "They didn't send their best. They sent a warning." The other generals fell silent. The galaxy watches. Other alien empires were watching too. The Vornathi, the Jural Confederacy, the Ellerin Alliance. Many had once looked down on humans. Some had even considered attacking Earth in secret, but now they watched the battle footage and reconsidered. Some feared the humans. Others wanted to ally with them. Some even began copying human military tactics and researching old Earth battles. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. Members from dozens of species argued over what to do. "Humans have lied to us," one shouted. "They hid their power. They've saved dozens of worlds from pirates and slavers," another said. "They've earned their place." A third leaned forward, voice cold. "If they truly go to war, we won't survive." No one had an answer. The human message back on Earth. A second message was sent out to the entire galaxy. It came from the United Terran Assembly, humanity's central government. The message was translated into every known alien language and broadcast across all star systems. "We are humans of Earth. We came to the stars in peace. We still desire peace, but we are not helpless. If you threaten our people, our colonies, or our allies, we will defend ourselves. We will not hold back. We do not seek war. We remember it well." Across the galaxy, everyone heard the message, and they believed it, because they had seen the proof. I knew. Reputation, the image of humanity had changed forever. No longer were humans seen as small, soft-spoken explorers. Now they were known as something else, the species that had tamed its own violence. The warriors who hid behind science and kindness, the steel-hearted race that had survived its own worst demons and now stood unshaken among the stars, and high above New Avalon. The Uns. Vengeance remained a quiet giant, a reminder of what happened when the galaxy pushed humanity too far. Part 5. A galaxy changed forever. 1,200 words. The galaxy would never be the same again. Once. Humans were seen as newcomers, quiet, curious, helpful, and harmless. Now, everything had changed. The battle over New Avalon had opened everyone's eyes. A human battleship, the Un's Vengeance, had destroyed an entire Zarkathi fleet with ease. It was fast, powerful, and unstoppable. The kind of ship no one believed humans were capable of building, but now the galaxy knew, and it would never forget. Across the stars, reactions of fear and respect across the galaxy. From the icy planets of the Ellerin to the gas cities of the Vornathi, people watched the footage over and over. The sight of the Vengeance arriving, the calm destruction of ship after ship. The final message, "We are war." It had all burned into the minds. Of every species, many were afraid. Some were angry. A few admired what they saw. But one thing was clear. Humanity was not weak in the Jural Confederacy. A group of alien admirals held an emergency meeting. If Earth has one ship like that, one admiral said, they may have more. And if they do, another asked, then we pray. They remain peaceful. Even the most powerful species in the galaxy, like the Tharkan Enclave, began to rethink their plans. For years, they had considered Earth a stepping stone, something easy to conquer. Not anymore. They quietly canceled their invasion plans. Instead, they sent envoys hoping to open trade, not war. The surrender of the Zarkave, back on the Zarkathi. Homeworld, things had gone from bad to worse. General Threx, once proud and confident, now looked tired. His once fearless army had lost its will to fight. His people were terrified. Zarkathi cities were filled with protests. Citizens demanded peace. Soldiers refused to return to the front lines. Even elite units hesitated at the thought of facing another human battleship. The images of the vengeance haunted them all. Finally, General Threx stood before the Dominion Council. The room was filled with tension. "It is over," he said. "Cannot win. If we attack again, they will send more. And they won't stop next time." Council voted. The decision was clear. The Zarkathi Dominion officially surrendered all claims to New Avalon. They sent a message directly to Earth. "We regret our actions. We will not challenge humanity again." Earth responded with a short reply. Then, "Let this be the end of it. No threats, no demands." Just a warning that didn't need to be spoken. The galaxy understood. Humanity's new role after the battle and surrender. Humanity was no longer seen as a quiet member of the Galactic Council. They were now a major power. Not because of how many planets they had. Not because of how many fleets they owned. But because they had shown what true power looked like and how calmly they had used it. Earth didn't celebrate the victory with pride or joy. There were no parades, no loud declarations of dominance. Instead, they continued their work repairing New Avalon, rebuilding trade routes, helping nearby colonies that had been affected by the Zarkathi War. They acted like nothing had changed, but the galaxy noticed. A leader from the peaceful Nelari species said it best in a broadcast: "The humans have the strength of warriors, the minds of engineers, and the hearts of survivors. They do not shout, do not boast. But when pushed, they stand like giants." More battleships? Whispers spread fast. Were there more human battleships? So, how many? Some said there were 5 more like the Vengeance. Others believed there were dozens hidden in deep space. Wild rumors claimed Earth had an entire fleet of dreadnoughts waiting inside asteroid fields. No. One knew the truth. Earth gave no answer, and that silence made the fear even stronger. In hidden hangars and secret shipyards across the solar system, humans were indeed building more. But they didn't announce it. They didn't brag. They simply prepared. The message to all 1 month after the Zarkathi surrender. Humanity sent one final message to every species in the galaxy. This time, it came from the President of the United Terran Assembly, speaking directly into the camera. The message was translated into every language and broadcasts across every planet, station, and colony. "We are humans. We come from a world of storms and fire, a world that taught us how to fight, how to survive, and how to forgive. We believe in peace. We believe in cooperation. We believe the galaxy is better when we work together. Never mistake our kindness for weakness. We are not your prey. We're not your servants. We are survivors of our own chaos. We're students of our own history. We have fought monsters before, sometimes even among ourselves, and we learned. If you seek peace, we welcome you. But if you threaten us again, know this: we won't send diplomats. We won't send warnings. We will send the vengeance. And it will be the last thing you see." The message was clear, and the galaxy listened. The vengeance is final. Orbit Theon's vengeance stayed above New Avalon for 3 more weeks. During that time, it didn't move much. It simply floated in silence. But its presence brought comfort to the colonists. Children pointed at it in the sky. Farmers said they slept better knowing it was up there. Finally, on the 22nd day, the Vengeance's engines came to life. With a low hum that echoed through the sky, the battleship turned and slowly left orbit. It disappeared into deep space without a sound. No one knew where it was going. Some believed it returned to Earth. Others said it went to patrol another colony. Few believed it simply vanished, waiting quietly for the next time it was needed. A new era begins. The Battle of New Avalon became a turning point in galactic history. Historians would one day call it the Day of Steel, the day humanity stopped hiding. From that moment forward, the galaxy treated humans with both caution and respect. Alliances grew, trade increased, and peace held at least for a while. But the shadow of the vengeance remained. Whenever conflict threatened to rise, leaders would ask one question: what if the humans send another one? And that question was enough to stop many wars before they even began. The final thought the galaxy had once believed it. Understood war that Zarkathi thought they were the masters of. Destruction, other species thought they had seen everything. But they were wrong, because they had never truly faced humanity, and they had never seen human battleship in action. Now they had, and they would never forget it.